You folks want some art advice for drawing fat people? I'm kind of an art channel, so I do want to show tips for drawing fat bodies in this video since it's hard finding references that aren't unflattering before and after pictures. But I think it's more important for us to all understand that fat people are people first. It's something many struggle with, including those who should know better. The most apparent and least insidious example of this is media representation. How many examples can you think of a fat character that's a heroic figure and not in a comedy where the fact that they're a hero is part of the joke? A romance with a fat character as a love interest, while the fact that they're desirable being a joke. Anything that doesn't treat fat people existing happily as a joke. And when they aren't the punchline, oh, they're just monsters. Literally and figuratively, be they cruel villains that you know are bad because they're not pretty, or subhuman beasts. And more often than not, they're combinations of these archetypes. Their bodies are othered as grotesque caricatures of humanity in both comedy and horror. This is very evident with artists, especially anime artists who draw fat characters as a distinct other compared to thin ones. Why are stubby legs so common? It makes them look like gorillas. It's scary how pervasive this is. Michael Schur, the creator of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, not all cops, just some bad apples, really loves it. Actually, good pieces of media have fat jokes too. And things that don't have these stereotypes often don't have fat characters at all. And don't say that there wouldn't be fat people surviving in the post-apocalypse. What next? No disabled people either? Why is everybody so against showing fat people? This stigma is part of fat phobia. And no, fat phobia isn't just misogyny. True, it's compounded by gender essentialism, like all bigotries, but treating it as something that only hurts women ignores how it affects men. Anybody here see that Zac Efron documentary where he cries because he wasn't allowed to eat carbs for 6 months just for a movie? Or see those images of Hugh Jackman dehydrated just so he can have abs? The policing of bodies hurts everybody. And there are never non-binary fat characters because everyone associates androgynous with skinny. Which is interesting when you see that fat men are seen as emasculated, while fat women are unladylike, only being accepted when they perform gender conformity. They're never allowed the agency to be outside the gender binary, just seen as failures of their gender. I recognize that feeling as a non-passing trans person. Now, some of you might be wondering why the endless mockery and flat-out dehumanization of fat people is a bad thing. Hurting their feelings is good, right? Making fun of fat people makes people not want to be fat, which stops the very real obesity epidemic, right? I mean, it's for their health, right? Wait, there's one more cliche I wanted to mention, that trope of having fat characters turn skinny and thus beautiful by severely starving themselves. Why does that trope exist? Oh yeah! We conflate eating too many carbs, a few sugars, any fats, or just eating too much with weight gain. And weight gain is seen as bad. So those things are moralized. If you fuel your body the good way, instead of using bad foods, then you wouldn't be fat, which is a failure, a punishment. So thinness, regardless of how you obtained it, must be a sign that you did something right. It doesn't matter if you did nothing and your weight is a result of genetics, or if it was the result of suffering the likes you'd see in a Saw movie. You did it! But to truly reveal the most damaging facet of fat phobia, we need to discuss the ever-beneficial, can never go wrong, I'm being sarcastic, medical-industrial complex. We've all been told fatness kills, but is that the true cause? Or is it fat phobia that kills? Say you're a doctor and you're visited by a fat patient. You know fatness isn't healthy, same as you know autism only affects white boys until they grow out of it and nobody else. So regardless of whatever your patient says, you tell them to lose weight, either to cure their ailments or to make them ready to begin treatment in the first place. No one tests all the potential different effects medicines have on those POCs, intersexes, transes, females, and fats. just don't treat them. Besides, we got this cherry-picked poster made by a hospital known for its weight loss surgery, and it makes fat look scary. I trust it. If that fat patient dies before they get any proper medical attention, well, guess the fat killed them. They should have lost that weight. Doesn't matter if the odds are against them due to human physiology, the cost of homemade health food, and the inaccessibility of exercise equipment, along with training that you can't use a gym for, or else people will shame you for being there. Forget that. Just use laxatives, invasive surgeries, and starvation. Don't pay attention to how most diets fail and that a fluctuating body mass isn't safe. Better dead than fat. And there are those with what seem to be actual good intentions who talk about how fat shaming leads to weight gain, but that pretty much says, we know fat is awful, but don't make it worse. Maybe weight shouldn't be seen as bad because it's then used to judge human value and moral character. Food moralizing is done because health as a whole is moralized too. People with the right bodies did the right thing, and they serve as good role models. Therefore, those with wrong bodies did something wrong and are encouraging others to do bad things. Hence, fat people existing glorifies obesity. I could talk about the health at every size movement, since fatness isn't a death sentence. But be honest, having coffee twice a day or going on mild alcohol binges just to get through your work week, that's not healthy. But it's often encouraged as opposed to publicly shamed. Kinda goes to show how unobtainable wellness is under capitalism, as it makes life miserable, then sells you products to make you feel better regardless if those products are good for you. Yeah, I read an article saying fat acceptance helps the fast food industry and just wanted to remind us of the true evil here. Even if fat shaming worked in making them thin, and if fatness were an aberration, doesn't matter. Someone can shame me for showing autistic symptoms, and I'll try to pass for a neurotypical to avoid the shame. But what they did was still ableism, with the justification that'll help me avoid ableism. It's not really about helping. Shaming people for their appearance is meant to punish them into changing their looks or going away. And when the part of your appearance being shamed is within your very cells, and every place you go engages in this shaming, those surefire methods of avoiding this shame are pretty drastic. But hey, whatever works for getting rid of fat people for the unforgivable crime of existing while not being conventionally attractive. Hey guys, if society wants a certain group of people cured or eliminated through any means necessary simply due to their biology, I'm pretty sure that's eugenics. But what do I know about that? Or know about anything? According to the man who discovered my disorder, I don't deserve to be alive. No, really, saying that fat people don't deserve medical care because it would be a waste on them is eugenicist. People don't deserve discrimination even if they're unhealthy. Not everyone can be healthy. Imagine a zombie. Bad posture, emaciated, dead-eyed, and always oozing. That's me. I will never be healthy. Do I deserve life and happiness? If yes, why are these things denied to fat people? Why is skinny unhealthiness tolerated, but not fat unhealthiness? Because it's not really about health. Fat phobes don't care about biology. They want power. They love controlling those they deem below them to feel like some useless trait they have that the other lacks makes them special. Things might be bad, but at least they aren't fat. And if they are, then they're one of the good ones, as they're trying to not be fat. You must be thin, or be striving for thinness to earn respect, and all fatness must be discouraged. Fat phobes are so worried about evil fat acceptance encouraging weight gain, while promoting eating disorders. Yet, despite the harm fat phobia does, it's often ignored. It shows up even in progressive spaces. You want to portray a conservative full of hate and ignorance? Make them fat and a slob. True, the figureheads of fascism are scrawny, clean-cut men calmly explain how globalism controls the banks. but it's so easy to indulge in the idea of neckbeard, so why not use it? So looking at all of this, it's clear that fat people and their bodies are used as tools, whether it's shorthand for a flaw, or a measure of decency, or just inspiration to cheer up normal people. A TikTok filter came out for looking fat so you can feel confident when you take it off. Yeesh. Sure, we could make beauty standards more inclusive of fat people, but that didn't help with the systemic fat discrimination. It just made THICC a thing. Like, sure, you're still denied a job in medical care, but there are people out there who find an extremely idealized version of you worthy of objectification. Yay? Wait, wasn't this video supposed to talk about art? Fat doesn't make you a sphere, it sags, and doesn't always collect in the same spots. Here are some photography sites for fat models. When making characters, consider how you use body types. Do your good guys need to all have concave bodies, or could you try something else? If you only draw your fat characters with exaggerated features, it's gonna make them feel like they don't belong. Same as when all your girls have hourglass shapes. Do better. Fandom Musings channel has a video that goes into the prevalence of fat phobia in kids media. Watch some of OK to Be Fat's videos, such as how the BMI is BS. And on that play on words, I ask if you would like, comment, or subscribe to this channel. But I also ask that you be patient with yourself. If your body is saying it's hungry or tired, learn to listen to it instead of trying to punish or outsmart it. Take care of yourself, which means being cautious this Halloween. Vote if you can, because unlike fatness, this is a matter of life or death. Bye for now.